By licensing, we should actually legalize alternative health care, allow people to practice what they want.
Congressman Bachmann, go ahead and weigh in on this hypothetical 30-year-old who needs 6 months of intensive care, has no insurance.
Well, first of all, what I want to say, with all due respect to the governors, I've read this health care bill. I've been fighting this fight the last couple of years. President Obama's Obamacare bill. And waivers and executive orders won't cut it. If you could solve Obamacare with an executive order, any president could do it and any president could undo it. That's not how it can be done. Plus, no state has the constitutional right to force a person as a condition of citizenship to buy a product or service against their will. It's unconstitutional, whether it's the state government or whether it's the federal government. The only way to eradicate Obamacare is to pull it out by the root and branch to fully repeal it. It's the only way we're going to get rid of it. And this is why I'm running for the presidency of the United States, because 2012 is it. This is the election that's going to decide if we have socialized medicine in this country or not. This is it. Why? I just have to say this. It's because President Obama embedded $105,464 million in Obamacare in post-dated checks to implement this bill. We are never going to get rid of it unless we have a president committed to getting rid of it. And if you believe that states can have it and that it's constitutional, you're not committed. If you've implemented this in your state, you're not committed. I'm committed to repealing Obamacare.
Thank you. There is much, much more in this Republican presidential debate. The CNN Tea Party debate. Stand by. We're taking another quick break. When we come back, national security, immigration, and a lot more. We'll be right back. I'm Blitzer in Tampa at the CNN Tea Party Republican presidential debate. Thousands of you are watching and commenting online on Twitter, Facebook, and CNN.com. We've seen the candidates strongly disagree on several issues already. When we come back, 3 especially bitter divides: the staggering cost of the war in Afghanistan, how to stop Iran from building a nuclear weapon, and illegal immigration. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the CNN Tea Party Republican presidential debate. We're here in Tampa, but we're taking questions from across the country. Let's go to Cincinnati. Please identify yourself and ask the question.
Yes. What would you do? What would you do to remove the illegal immigrants from our country?
Senator Santorum, maybe 11, 12 million illegal immigrants in the United States. What would you do?
I've said this from the very beginning. I'm the son of an Italian immigrant. I believe in immigration. I believe that immigration is an important part of the lifeblood of this country. But what we have is a problem of an unsecure border. Unlike Governor Perry, I believe we need to build more fence. I believe that we need to secure the border using technology and more personnel. And until we build that border, we should neither have stormtroopers come in and throw people out of the country, nor should we provide amnesty. What we should do is enforce the laws in this country with respect to employers, and we should secure the border. And then after the border is secured, then we can deal with the problem that are in this country. But I think it's very important that we understand and we explain to folks that immigration is an important lifeblood of this country, something that I strongly support, and something that we have to do legally if we're going to have respect for the law.
Governor Perry, he mentioned you, so go ahead.
Yes, sir. There's not anybody on this stage that's had to deal with the issue of border security more than I have, with 1,200 miles of Texas and Mexico, and our federal government has been an abject failure at securing our border. We've had to spend some $400 million of Texas taxpayer dollars to send Texas Ranger recon teams down there. Strategic fencing in the metropolitan areas absolutely has a role to play. But the idea that you're going to build a wall from Brownsville to El Paso and go left for another 800 miles to Tijuana is just not reality. What you have to have is boots on the ground. You got to have 4,500 Border Patrol agents trained up, 1,500 National Guard troops. You got to have the aviation assets in the air, putting real-time information down to the law enforcement. We understand and know how to secure that border, but we can't do it alone, and the federal government has to step up and do what their constitutional duty is, and that is to secure the border with Mexico.
Let me just take this quick question from Twitter, and then I want to stay on the subject. What are the candidates doing to attract the Latino voters? Go ahead, Senator Santorum.
Well, I mean, what Governor Perry's done is he provided in-state tuition for illegal immigrants. Maybe that was an attempt to attract the legal vote, the Latino voters. But you attract Latino voters by talking about the importance of immigration in this country. You talk about the importance of, as Newt has talked about for many years, having English as the official language of this country. I say that as again, my father and grandfather came to this country not speaking a word of English, but it was the greatest gift to my father to have to learn English so he could assimilate into our society. We are a melting pot, not a salad bowl, and we need to continue that tradition.
Governor Perry, I'm going to move on to Governor Huntsman in a second, but you did sign legislation giving some illegal immigrants in Texas the opportunity to have in-state tuition at universities in Texas. Explain what that is. In the state of Texas,
if you've been in the state of Texas for 3 years, if you're working towards your college degree, and if you are working and pursuing citizenship in the state of Texas, you pay in-state tuition there. And the bottom line is it doesn't make any difference what the sound of your last name is. That is the American way. No matter how you got into that state, from the standpoint of your parents brought you there or what have you. And that's what we've done in the state of Texas, and I'm proud that we are having those individuals be contributing members of our society rather than telling them, you go beyond the government dole.
You heard some boos there, but go ahead, Congresswoman Bachmann. Is that basically the DREAM Act that President Obama wants as well?
Yes, it's very similar. And I think that the American way is not to give taxpayer subsidized benefits to people who've broken our laws or are here in the United States illegally. That is not the American way. Because the immigration system in the United States worked very, very well up until the mid-1960s when liberal members of Congress changed the immigration laws. What works is to have people come into the United States with a little bit of money in their pocket legally with sponsors so that if anything happens to them, they don't fall back on the taxpayers to take care of them. And then they also have to agree to learn to speak the English language, learn American history and our Constitution. That's the American way.
I'm going to bring Governor Huntsman in, but go ahead, Governor Perry.
I'm not for the DREAM Act that they are talking about in Washington, D.C. That is amnesty. What we did in the state of Texas was clearly a states' right issue. And the legislature passed with only 4 dissenting votes in the House and the Senate to allow this to occur. We were clearly sending a message to young people, regardless of what the sound of their last name is, that we believe in you. That if you want to live in the state of Texas and you want to pursue citizenship, that we're going to allow you the opportunity to be contributing members in the state of Texas and not be a drag on our state.
Hold on a second. Governor Huntsman, you also signed legislation in Utah that gave driving privileges to illegal immigrants. Was that a good idea?
Well, first of all, let me say, for Rick to say that you can't secure the border, I think is pretty much a treasonous comment. Rick, you know, we can secure the border. We can secure the border through means of fences, through technology, through the deployment of our National Guard troops. We can get it done. In fact, when elected President of the United States, I would work with you and the other 3 border governors to ensure that through your law enforcement officials, you can verify that that border is secure. But I will tell you before, Wolf, to your direct question, they were given a driver's license before, and they were using that for identification purposes, and I thought that was wrong. Instead, we issued a driver privilege card, which in our state allowed our economy to continue to function. And it said in very bold letters, not to be used for identification purposes. It was a pragmatic, local government-driven fix, and it proved that the 10th Amendment works. We believe in local fixes and solutions.
All right, Governor Romney, you have a problem with either what Governor Huntsman did in Utah or Governor Perry did in Texas?
Yeah, with both, actually. The question began by saying, how do we attract Latino voters? And the answer is by telling them what they know in their heart, which is they or their ancestors did not come here for a handout. If they came for a handout, they'd be voting for Democrats. They came here for opportunity and freedom, and that's what we represent, and that's why we'll win in collecting support from Latinos across the country. And with regards to illegal immigration, of course we build a fence. And of course, we do not give in-state tuition credits to people who've come here illegally. That only attracts people to continue to come here and take advantage of America's great beneficence. And with regards to giving driver's licenses to people that are here illegally, again, that creates a patina of legal status. They're sanctuary cities in some parts of the country. One of the things I did in my state was to say, look, I'm going to get my state police authorized to be able to enforce immigration laws and make sure those people who we arrest or put in jail that find out they're here illegally, we're going to get them out of here. We have to recognize that this is the party that believes in supporting the law. We're going to enforce the law. We are the party of opportunity. We're also the party of legal, law-abiding citizens, and that's something we're going to attract with people of all backgrounds.
Go ahead.
Well, as I've said earlier, we basically had a decision to make. Are we going to give people an incentive to be contributing members of this society? Are we going to tell them, no, you're not, we're going to put you on the government dole? In the state of Texas, and this is a states' right issue, if in Massachusetts you didn't want to do that, or if in Utah you didn't want to do that, that's fine. But in the state of Texas, where Mexico has a clear and a long relationship with this state, we decided it was in the best interest of those young people to give them the opportunity to go on to college and to have the opportunity. They're pursuing citizenship in this country rather than saying, you know, we're going to put you over here and put you on the government dole for the rest of your life. We don't think that was the right thing to do, and it's working well in the state of Texas.
I know you want to respond to, because he said that what you did in Utah was a mistake, giving driving privileges to illegal immigrants.
I mean, we could spend all night talking about where Mitt's been on all the issues of the day, and that would take forever. But let me just say that all the Latino voters, Hispanic voters want is opportunity. Can we say that? The greatest thing that we can do for the people in this country is on illegal immigration is fix homeland security. I mean, when are we going to have an honest conversation in this country about the root causes? We can't process people. The H-1B visa process is broken. We need to bring in brain power to this country to shore up our economic might. We need to bring in foreign capital to raise real estate prices as well. We need a fixed Department of Homeland Security.
Thank you, Governor. All right, let's take a question from Phoenix. Go ahead, Phoenix. Give us your name.
The United States has an abundance of coal, oil, natural gas, and uranium. The American people have been told for decades that energy independence is a top priority. What will you do in your first 100 days in office to assure the American people that energy independence will finally become a reality?
Mr. Cain.
The first thing that I would do in order to assure that we get on the road to energy independence, and I do believe that we can because we do have the natural resources to do so, we've got to remove some of those barriers out of the way that are being created by the federal government. I would start with an EPA that's gone wild. That's where we start. I would put together a regulatory reduction commission for every agency, starting with the EPA. This regulatory reduction commission, one of my guiding principles is, if you want to solve a problem, go to the source closest to the problem. So the people that I would appoint to that commission will be people who have been abused by the EPA. That would be the commission to straighten out the regulatory burden.
Let's take a question from Twitter. Do you plan to decrease defense spending to balance spending, or do you believe high spending is essential to security? Speaker Gingrich.
I think we are at the edge of an enormous crisis in national security. I think that we are greatly